that dude says the worst things about black people, he's the black Pepe. That's the truth.
Well, I just know for a fact that if the shoe were on the other foot and somebody did what was done to you to him, I know that he would definitely be a bull in the china shop, tearing down every freaking room, interrupting and doing what he could to get his point across. So it's just very interesting to me how he comes in here with no sense of empathy as a father. That you were put in that situation and Roger was put in that situation. It's disgusting.
I'm just reading a comment in the chat, and it just reminds me yet again, I keep saying this, why grown-ass men are so pressed about how other men carry their spaces and run their rooms. Why do y'all fucking care? Go sit up under the men whose spaces you enjoy. Like, too much soy and fluoride in the water, ladies and gentlemen. Your mamas took you off the nipple too soon, or maybe too late. Y'all really be pressed about how men run their spaces. I'm literally, can I use the word flabbergasted? Jesus Christ. Y'all in the chat, by the way, he's right about you and how you run your space. Bitch, then go find a space you want to sit in. Y'all are weird. And this is coming from men.
I've been running my spaces the same exact way today as I did the day I got on this app.
100%.
He says he's been in my space before, then you would know this space is not for the light of heart. Right? It's just not, bro. If that triggers you, that's on you. Here is the model for for healthy debates, right? This is a brave space, not a safe space.
This is a level of professionalism you see in my movies. So that one is really funny, man. Oh my god.
Real talk. JB is a whole entire coward. That's why. You might like JB. I like it, and that's cool. But I promise you, he's going to expose himself. You're going to see who JB really is. Alright? And here's the dude at KP, I can't abide a coward. A coward? Dude, I watch women on this app say, listen, I'm going to hop down off of this stage and
I'd give up a kidney to go listen to that debate. But as far as promoting it and out of the street, bro, he's been streaming for years. Who cares? At this point, dude, who cares? I'm not saying you're my friend. I don't give a fuck this dude. I had no smoke with John. But you know what? Let John be John. This is how I feel. I'm over all that bullshit.
So let me tell you why I care, and I'm going to say this in defense to the women and certain ideologies behind what John is doing. Being raised by a 2-parent household and having a mother in the house along with my father, she always taught me that a woman saying no is something that needs to be listened to and it needs to be heard. So when you have men like John, who has had countless women on this app tell them that it makes them uncomfortable. They don't want to have their vulnerable moments put onto YouTube. They don't want to have certain information that people can plug into certain search engines and give up their location to rob them of their sense of security. So to me, I take that from a personal lesson that I learned as a child, that what John is doing, especially to the women on this app, is completely wrong and extremely violating.
Well, you know what? You can say that a million times, bro. He ain't going to change. So my thing, for me, I just ignore him. I have very little patience for him when he comes to my stages. I give him a little grace, but when he starts talking his nonsense, goodbye, John. But we're not going to, dude, I'm telling you. Look, he wants to come up. John has a new account. Shocker, people. Who do you think has more accounts, John or Pepe? For me, I just ignore him. Because we all know Pepe's coming back tomorrow. With a vengeance. And you know what he's going to do tomorrow, people? I can promise you. He's going to say the same things that he said today, that he said yesterday, that David, original idea has not entered that man's brain, probably since 3rd grade. He regurgitates the same shit. So listen, I know I have this thick Brooklyn accent. I say some bad things. I pissed off Jackie, right? He got upset because I said, he needs to squeeze his balls. That's fine. But whose voice would you rather hear, mine or Kermit the Frog's? You tell me. John Kitover, how many fucking accounts do you have?
Well, they clipped a bunch of my accounts as well today, and in terms of
You're welcome.
in terms of Dr. Adams claiming that I'm putting women at risk, if you're talking about yourself, Dr. Adams, maybe you should take Darren LaHood's PTR out of your name and representing his campaign because you could be causing him a lot of damage to his campaign. And I thank you for that. But nonetheless, I have to do what I have to do to be victorious and to fight people who have bad political ideas and want to increase the debt. And if you're a female on this app and you're political and I'm political, if our paths happen to cross and you end up in a YouTube video of mine, well, I hope what you said was intelligent. If it wasn't, well, let the audience decide.
Well, that's great. And
I said, Adams, he's like herpes. You can't get rid of him, bro.
Well, and I'm going to bring back my point to the harassment piece of this. Notice I've made it very clear I do not care to interact with this man, nor do I care to be put up on YouTube. But as I click on his profile, it says add back. So this man is refusing to disengage, and I hope that you guys all see the point that I was trying to make has now been proven yet again.
All right, well, I'm running for Congress in the 16th District of Illinois, where Darren LaHood, the man in your PTR, is, and I don't know what to tell you. Go to johnforcongress.com.
I just told him no campaign, and he can't help himself. And by the way, I did donate to his campaign. I did it as a favor for Roger. I'm going to be requesting that money back from Roger directly. How about that?
It's the one thing I disagree with Roger on. Just platforming him all day long.
Myself?
No, it's the one thing I disagree with Roger on platforming. John, I think he did it for content, but it went out of control.
No. That's between John and Roger. I'm not even going down that lane. If Roger wants to address it, he'll be back before you guys know it. But, is anybody, and I'll be honest, is anybody unhappy that Pepe got 2 accounts clipped? Anybody? If anybody has a problem with it, by all means, please come to the stage. Raise your hand. We'll have a nice kumbaya dialogue. Nobody? Let me say hello to Moose, Curtis, Hakima in the house. Your piece. I love you. Your piece. I'm not love bombing you, but I have a lot of affection for you, lady. America, you're beautiful. Kubu, what's up, Kubu? April, how you doing? Heidi, we got Bree. Man, you guys gotta hear that accent that lady has. Off the chain. Lububu. We got Miss. We got Mitch. We got Pebbles. Pat. Ashley. If you guys want to come up. We got Dude Cool from Canada. Another sensitive person. This world's taken over by the far left. It's crazy to me.
Listen, I just want to reiterate, JB, I'm not trying to center myself, but I just want to reiterate, because I did say in Pepe's chat, somebody asked me, how you feeling about this whole situation, man? And I said, I don't like it, and I'm going to stay out of it. And I think the only reason why I know the only reason why I've been so vocal about it, because again, I want to stress, especially if Pepe's in here listening on a phone. I've had no beef with Pepe on this app. He and I have never sparred. We had an incident a while ago, which he later apologized for, which I thought was very admirable, right? But I have been vocal about what's happening over the past couple days because I like JB and I like Roger. And I know some people might say, Nine, shut up, don't get involved. But I don't know why I feel compelled to defend both of these men in my own way. So I just wanted to state that because some people might
Well, I am too.
And that too, right? So and there's only a handful of houses that I go into consistently on this app. This is one of them. In the month is another one. And I said earlier today, there are a couple people on this app who I don't know personally, but I'm fond of them. And if the same shit happened to them, I might be compelled to be like, leave this person alone, back the fuck off. Adams is one of them. I don't know Adams personally, but I'm very fond of Adams, right? And if some shit happened and y'all were attacking Adams, I'd probably do the same thing. Shut the fuck up and leave it. And whoever's giving me thumbs down, your mama stank. So, that's about it. I'm done.
Well, let me just say this. We all, listen, if we took a real vote, I think the majority is that Pepe's just a low-life piece of shit. Always has been, always will be. Right? But then you got this parasite, right? KK Min, who loves to gaslight. I'm so worried about the women. Oh my God, ladies, look out for JB. Look out. Right? Another person trying to make herself relevant, who's the most irrelevant person on this app. Goes around telling people she's a gold star wife. Her husband was killed in action. Right? Call the life I see. I think you're full of shit, lady. Full of shit. Bring receipts. Bring receipts on who the fuck you are behind, besides hiding behind your fucking PTR and your fake names. The time of the trolls is coming to an end, people. I can promise you that. Clubhouse ain't fucking around no more. You saw how fast that piece of shit got clipped tonight? Because she wants to, oh, he did this in 2009. He did this in 2010. Meanwhile, she got almost every date wrong. She couldn't say Bear Stearns. She said Bear and Stearns. You know, I understand, you know, English is not your first language, you dummy. But why don't you just mind your fucking business and let the men fight it out? How about that? You fucking gaslight troll. I hope you get a yeast infection in your mouth.
Can I ask you a question, Jay?
You can ask me too.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the bonus. So, you know, looking from the outside, looking in on a lot of these beefs, at what point are we going to have like a reset? Not in the terms of like, you know, kumbaya, but I feel like colloquially as a community, as people kind of navigate through different rooms, there should be certain things that should be off limits. You know, from this point forward. You know, I know that people have said things in the past. I know that people have really dug deep, you know, in the past. But let's agree to put the past in the past. Everybody goes and sits with their own tribe. Don't go into anybody's spaces that doesn't want anybody in anybody's spaces. And let's stop talking about the kids. Let's stop talking about people's spouses. Let's start talking about people's dead relatives. You know, like, let's stop this. Like, I mean, we seek entertainment on being on this app, and it feels like people have slowly migrated off of this app because I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of this shit at times gets very, very, very ugly. It gets very, very, very ugly, and it's very difficult to listen to. And I've been very guilty of it myself in being pushed in defending myself. But at this point, through learning from this situation, go ahead.
Hold on. Let me get some Let me give you some clarity. I haven't mentioned Pepe's name in probably almost a week. Right?
No, I know that.
Let me finish. Right? I never talk about Mon. Mon's irrelevant. She's an embarrassment to herself, right? 75 fucking years old, and she wants to talk shit. And KK, I haven't mentioned KK's name in years. As a matter of fact, Adams, I specifically reached out to KK's best friend and said, bro, I need a favor from you. I need you to get her to stand down. And what she do? She took an extra 5 steps forward tonight. With lies, insinuations. So how many times does a person have to sit back and get punched in the face and say, you know what? I've eaten enough shit. I'm full. Fuck that. I'm not looking for toxicity, and I'm not bringing the drama, but I'm not going to back down from it either. You come to me, I'm coming after you. And I've tried my best the last fucking week just to stand down. But you know what? Enough. What she did in that room tonight to try to center herself like she's some good person. Bro, here's the truth with KK Min. She has doxed, gaslit more people on this app than probably Pepe and anybody combined. And that's true. But she gets a pass because she talks so sweet and so nice. Fuck her and her fake story about a dead husband. Bring receipts. Everybody loves to have receipts on me, Adams. I want receipts now. Until then, that person's a fucking liar. And if that triggers her, she's going to go, I guarantee she's going to go around the room. He was talking about my dead husband. So what? So what? How about the fact that you fucking doxed me and my family, you insidious cancer? So what? Your husband's some fucking saint? I don't even think you had a husband, you fucking piece of shit. How about that? It's a whole other ball game, Adams, when the rabbit's holding the gun, and I'm fully fucking loaded.
Well, tonight is messy. Hold on, MJ, I'll say this real quick. Tonight is a messy night. Somebody want to pin KK in here and ask her why she's sending herself?
No.
I was just being petty. I'm gonna go back to minding my business.
She's in the room. She's under anonymous. I guarantee you, and she's gonna cry like the little bitch she is for the next 6 months that I spoke about her dead husband. Because that's off limits. But my kids, my family, my business, my life is not off limits. It's amazing the hypocrisy with these people.
Yeah, everything JB said. Adams, don't you think that that's not this side? Like, our side has a moral code. It's just like, damn, the other side won't let it go, right? And so after a certain amount of time, people get tired of that shit and you're going to get popped in your mouth. So I don't understand, like, the moral code. We do abide by a moral code, but I mean, I feel JB. You keep fucking with them, you're going to get popped in your mouth. And I think that that's fair, Adams. You're in these spaces, you see what goes on in the chat. Who's trying to trigger who? Do you think JB and this side is trying to trigger them? No, they come over here trying to trigger us. Adams, that's for you. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I mean, for the most part, I don't say anything because I'm sick of it because it's been going on for 5 years. It's exhausting.
It really is, and to be very honest with you, I would like to have this conversation with you kind of in private as to how I specifically am bothered by not necessarily this particular situation and the insults going back and forth, but just like an everyday norm. You know what I mean? As far as people going to a place on both sides that I quite frankly have just gotten very disgusted with.
Well, let me jump in here real quick. So Son Goku writes, it's crazy when talking about someone's dead husband. Yeah, it's also crazy about putting my family's information out there. My kids' information out there. That's okay, though. That's okay. Let's do that. For fucking years, you idiots. For years. I've never said a word on that woman or her dead husband until tonight. But she's going to run with it, I promise you. She's going to play the perpetual victim and forget what she did to me. And she's done to many others. But I have no right to take the gloves off. Man, here in New York, we got a saying. You can only shove shit down somebody's throat so they say they're full. I'm full. Fuck that. Fully loaded, let's go. I'm tired of it. Now, you leave me the fuck alone, I'll leave you alone. I haven't mentioned that woman's name in years.
All right.
But you just want to keep punching and punching. Fuck that, bro. I don't really give a fuck. There's no gloves for them, but I have to wear gloves. No, we ain't playing that no more. And none of this had to happen, by the way. That woman's name? None of this. First off, I don't even know why she's interjecting the peppy spaces in the first place. This has nothing to do with her. But she'll play the victim. Maybe she just needs to mind her business. How about that? See, some kind of moral compass, please, right? Oh, I have a boyfriend, but I don't fuck him when my kids are home. Do you really need to know that? Shut the fuck up. You fraud, you phony. How do you fucking gaslight trolls?
So, one thing that I wanted to comment on as far as Pepe Spaces and how it's pretty much stayed on brand over the last couple of years. He basically opens up spaces to say that I'm not racist, but then he wants to get the crowd gassed up by saying racist shit. Like, it's not anything original. Like, it's not anything that I feel like people should really hold on to. It's gotten very old, it's not entertaining, and I just feel like it's just non-productive.
Well, Adams, I've made some moves. See, here's the thing what people don't understand. Ni's always a mod, MG will always be a mod, some other people will be mods. But when I open the room, if I block you, then you definitely can't get in. So I'm making some moves for people that are saying just stupid shit with no basis. They're gone. I don't need them in my space. I'll run a space with 100 people or 10 people and still have the great conversation. That's just how I feel. But, I always found, especially in this, people want real till real shows up. Then they want that you're deflecting off whatever happened between the two of you. I don't even talk to Ann like that. I don't even like Ann, to be honest with you. She's a pain in my ass. But she definitely didn't sell me any information. I want to make that publicly known. Leave Ann alone. She had nothing to do with it. You fucking gossiping men. You're worse than fucking a bunch of tying washwomen. What's wrong with you?
You know, that's kind of like the argument about, you know, you have a lot of these male fortune tellers like Miss Cleo with rags on their head. You kicked me out of the room. Does Clubhouse have a feature that tells you who kicked somebody out of a room? Or are they just, you know, kind of speculating and just being messy? Like, it's, you know, this is what I mean about, like, the colloquial patterns as far as, like, how people navigate on this app. Like, it's very annoying. It's extremely annoying. Like, until you have definitive evidence of things, stop opening up rooms and speculating that people are doing things that you have no idea what they're doing. Like, it's very, very, very weird. It's like, I mean, did y'all go to, like, some fortune teller, like, gypsy freaking, like, you know, like, it's just very weird.
They're demons.
I just want to say hello to KP. This dude has been my friend and loyal to me from the day I got on this app, man. KP, I got nothing but love, admiration, and respect for you. Welcome to the room, KP.
Yo, what's going on? Yo, I've been punched in the left eye. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And I'm pissed off right now. And now I tried to hit you up too.
Yeah, when you tried to hit me up, I was in a private chat with somebody else, and I couldn't come.
KP, don't get worked up over it. Just don't.
Yeah, this is dumb. I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I'm getting drugged in the middle of this shit already.
Wait,
JB, you know,
why are they dragging you in it? Why are they dragging you in it?
Because people know JB is my boy.
Man, just listen. If somebody tries to bring you some of this nonsense, just say you don't want to hear it. Yo, okay, I wasn't going to say a fucking word about this. I left it alone for days, even though this dude was trying to drag me by regurgitating the same shit that I've already spoken on 5 million times. But I had to address it tonight, bro.
And I asked the other person, hey, yo, just go talk to JB. Go talk to him in a private room. Don't bring this shit on a public stage. Just go sit down. How we used to do it back in JB, you know how we used to do it back in the day. We go sit down.
100%.
Grab some coffee, grab some pizza. We're gonna sit down and talk about it.
But you know what, KP? But you know what, KP? Times are different, bro. These men nowadays are built differently than you and me, right? There's no integrity. These dudes want to fucking gossip. They want to get their estrogen level up. It's crazy to me that a person like Pepe can sit on the stage and say, hey, you know what? You're an N-word. Or you're at a K-word. And then, you know, when he gets a little pushback, oh, no, I was just trolling. I didn't mean that. Yoshi, what's good, man? Long time no hear, man. We just had enough. So, you know, I see you know, free speech should be allowed, but Yoshi, and I'm saying this respectfully because I like you and I respect you, but where's the line with free speech and hate speech and doxing people's families?
Doxing, you know, which potentially exposes people to imminent threat and harm. I don't think that should be tolerated. Speech is different. I look at, especially speech you don't like. I don't want to sound cliche, but I actually mean it sincerely. I look at opinions, words, or opinions that are expressed through words, kind of like I look at pathogens, viruses, and bacteria. If you're never exposed to it, you don't build up immunity. And so you're always susceptible to it making you ill, and you can't go through life like that. So when you're exposed to it, when you're able to hear it, analyze it, a resistance to it, not just by ignoring it, but by understanding the argumentation and the perspective, then it doesn't bother you to the point where you find yourself being agitated in a manner that you'd rather not be agitated. It's like sneezing every time it's the spring and so forth. You would much rather not have that reaction to the pollen. So I look at hate speech or speech I don't like in that same regards. But when you're doxing people, exposing people's personal information in this world, that is crossing the line. But if you're calling people pejoratives, that doesn't bother me.
No bullshit, bro. You can. I'm just using you as a example. You can call me any name you want. You can put me down. You can talk about my past. I don't care. But when you get my family involved, when you get my friends involved, bro, there has to be a hard line here. And that's just how I feel. By the way, ladies, it's not just a pretty face.
I agree with you 100% on that.
Yoshi's not just a pretty face. He's also very smart.
No, he is very smart. I go into some of his biblical rooms when he's speaking, and the insightful biblical brothers on this app, mad respect. Yoshi's.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So involving people's families, that's unacceptable.
That's off limits. Off limits.
That goes beyond speech. That's actionable. Okay, you actually took an action that we all understand as adults, or at least competent adults, that can expose people, like you said, more importantly, your family, to harm. That should not be tolerated. 100%. That should not be tolerated. But I didn't know that was the case. I thought he got clipped for something he said in the room that it had nothing to do with doxing.
He got clipped because he was going on a tirade for the last 5 days about me, my family, my background, you name it, Yoshi. He went scorched earth. He tried to, but all he really was doing, Yoshi, was regurgitating the same shit that everybody else has said over the last 5 years, and that I even spoke about. But he's just one of those polarizing figures that people come to his room because they want to hit a car crash. Damn it, it don't matter that he's talking about my family. Right. He's talking about my life. Who cares?
Right. Yeah, I don't think it should get personal with that on this app to that extent. Keep it on the information. If you're assaulting somebody in the room based off of something they said to you or said about a topic, that's one thing. But when you take that beyond this digital realm and bring it into people's actual lives, that is crossing the line. And so that's the basis on which you initiated the poll. Then on that basis, I will have to change my vote, JB.
100%. I can't believe I convinced you to change your vote. But that's exactly my whole thought process. And I gotta be honest, he's been talking on me for 5 days. I haven't said a word to him or about him. But
I spent like the past 3 hours talking shit about him.
5 days because he's obsessed with me. And I haven't punched back. I haven't said it. And I even told my other mods do not bring his name up. But he just refuses to stop. He got clipped tonight because he was dying. And I had nothing to do with it. Clubhouse got involved on their own.
He had a room the other night. I don't dislike Pepe. It's his cadence with which he speaks, the tone of his voice is irritating to me. So it makes it difficult for me to tone into the content of what he's presenting. I can't get beyond his voice.
He sounds like Kermit the Frog.
Something like that. And then I know that he's some of his words are inflammatory. That doesn't bother me, but I don't audience his platform too frequently. I happen to share platforms with him when he's in someone else's room. But Pepe, I didn't know he was doing that about you, JB.
Not just me.
That's disheartening to hear that. That he was doing that. That happens to people in his app. I know it happens to people in his app, but I didn't know that he was doing that. When I went into his room, I think for about 3 minutes, he was talking about how the Israeli flag was identified with Jewish identity, and he was, disapproval with that, but I didn't stick around to hear where that was going. That was the extent of what I caught, but like I said, on the basis of that, I changed my vote, man. He deserved it to get clipped on that. I didn't know it.
But here's the thing, Yoshi. Before I go to Dawn, let me just say this, bro. If Clubhouse kept kicking you out, you'd be like, why am I going back? I'm not welcome there. This dude's gonna be back tomorrow with a new account because he's so arrogant, he's so narcissistic. He feels that everybody needs to hear what he has to say. If I'm never gonna go into a club, Yoshi, then I'm not welcome. That's it.
Well, JB, that's your nature, okay? The hand only comes into your house when you invite them to food.
Breath away.
The roach is there regardless. The roach knows that he's not invited, that his presence isn't wanted. That's why he runs, regardless of whether or not he's being pursued. It's in his nature. He knows he's not wanted. The ant doesn't run when it sees you. It's minding his business, like the bee. But the fly and the roach, they're different stories. So he'll come where he's not invited or not wanted because his nature is akin to the roach and the fly.
Bro, that was amazing. That's amazing the way you put that. That made so much sense to me. Thank you for that, Yoshi. I appreciate you, bro.
Anytime, JB.
We need a mic drop emoji. I feel like I need to give you a mic drop emoji.
Thank you, Yoshi. Dawn, how you doing, Dawn?
Good. How are you? I'm sorry to hear all of this. I'm just learning about this evening, to be honest with you. I was in the other room briefly, for a couple minutes, and then I was told to ask me who I could vote. So, okay, can someone give me a recap? Like, I kept thinking that, right? And he was talking to someone, and I didn't know who he was talking to because he was very direct, directing his points to someone as if he was having a one-on-one, right? I'm like, who the fuck is he talking to? He was talking to you, but you weren't on stage. And
I wasn't even in the room, but he's talking to me like I'm.
I was like, what is going on? So, oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, I just thought I'd add that in there, but I got that he had said that, you mentioned he doxed you, but he said I didn't dox, and that's a lie, and I'll accept my apology. And
you want to ask me who I vote? Jefferson has my vote.
It's the only thing. Dawn, here's the thing. When we all came on this app, we all used our original names with our photos. So there's doxing. We told our professions.
Yes,
that doxing.
Yeah, but KP, he takes it to the next level where he does deep dive researches and he tells, like, listen, how this whole thing started, this whole bullshit started was he went and did a deep research on Roger and gave Roger his work history, his family's information. He put up pictures. Now, if you don't want your picture on here, right, and he's been on here for 5 years, Roger, why would he put that picture up? He crossed those lines. I don't care if you use your real name or not. But when you get his family's information about his, what the fuck does his work history have to do with anything to do with help with this act?
True. Like, I'm still trying to piece everything together, JB. I don't like what's going on, brother. I don't like it. And
Fernandez?
You're my brother.
Slusher Fernandez. Aye, Madam Chair.
I don't like this shit. I was there. I told Pepe, you're better than this. Stop it.
Well, apparently he's not. Anyway, listen, guys, I'm gonna get going. I just need to get some things off my chest. MG, you're more than welcome to keep it open. If not, I'm just gonna close it down because I rest assured, people, the storm is coming tomorrow. Pepe will be back on this app. and spewing his bullshit. So, guaranteed. Club Mango, what's up? Before I close down, let me say hello to you. If you're speaking, I can't hear you.
Oh, somebody just came into the room, and I hate that they missed this. Man, I hate that a certain someone missed this entire thing.
You wanna ask me who
He would have liked to be caught up on the latest drama. I won't say the person's name, but you probably already know who it is. But yeah. Okay, that's it. Sorry, JB.
It's okay, man. I'm out of here. Guys, do what you want. I'm sure there's going to be a response room to the response room to the response room. I don't really give a fuck what people say about me. But when you go after my friends, like, listen, Roger could be brusque, he could be brash, he could be, a pain in the ass. But Roger's a good dude. To dox him, yeah, I'm going to call that out every day of the week. I don't give a fuck. And he got doxed. So Pepe could play and say, all I did was put up his picture. That's a lie. We have many accounts that will back that up. For me, man, I'm just over. I just want to have good conversations.
Hello?
Hello? What's up, Club Mango?
Oh, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Doing fantastic.
How's everybody?
Good. You want to chime in before we leave?
Yeah, hey, Pink.
Mango!
Yeah, I believe karma is real. As a great Libra, I spent the whole day serving karma to a light-skinned chick who thought she could, what I'm saying, be a colorist in a room full of colorists the night before. And even though it was none of my business, I just felt like...
So good. Alright.
It's funny because I was in her room that Tuesday.
Another amazing room. Wow, Jazzy, bringing together such great rooms. Good work, Jasmine. What a life. What an incredible life.
5 reasons John Kitover should never be a congressman.
5 reasons why Jazzy eats too much. Because of Popeyes. Because of KFC.
Propped up, running. On people.
Because of Chick-fil-A. Because of Domino's and Pizza Hut.
Would you?
Yeah, I don't think I.
clipped every single Clubhouse account I had.
Here's what I want to get to very quickly. There's a lot of criticism of Donald Trump because he didn't blast Trump. He didn't blast Vladimir Putin. I don't quite understand that. Just remember that during World War II, Joseph Stalin had killed 20 million of his own people. He had invaded free Poland along with Nazi Germany. He had attacked free Finland in 1939 before he annexed 10% of it. He had helped.
Introducing our
Germany from September 1st, 1939 to June 22nd, 1941. He was our enemy. And then suddenly and only when Germany turned on him did he come to us. And we accepted that alliance on the principle that he was useful. And we gave billions of dollars in aid. 30% of the wherewithal Stalin came from the British Empire, the United States government. So, you know, FDR met with him at Yalta. He even called him Uncle Joe. This is a man who killed 20 million of his own people. 1972, Richard Nixon went to China, and he tried to have a reboot of the strategic global order and play off Russia against China to the self-interest of the United States. But the point was he sat down with the greatest mass murderer in history, Mao Zedong, who was responsible for 70 million people dead. Was Donald Trump not to meet with Putin, or was it when he to meet with him? Was he to employ the vocabulary of Joe Biden? You're a murderer. You're a thug. You're a criminal, as Biden said of him. And we're going to do whatever it takes. Does he have support for that? For an unlimited blank check to Ukraine? No. So he's trying to get along with a killer in a way that past presidents have reached out to mass murderers. The other thing is, very quickly, while there is the contours of a peace settlement, Donald Trump is not responsible for this war. He's the most powerful man in the world. He wants to help Ukraine get a just settlement. He's working with the Europeans. He's beefed up NATO. But remember this. In the last 4 administrations, Putin has invaded Georgia under George Bush. They invaded Crimea and Donbass under Barack Obama. They tried to take Kiev under Joe Biden. They didn't go anywhere under Donald Trump. Donald Trump was not the author of the failed reset. Remember the 2009 Geneva debacle where Hillary Clinton pushed that reset button and we were supposed to be friendly with Russia? And basically what we did is we said, you should be democratic. You should be democratic. You got to be Western. You have a liberalizing. Well, they didn't back it up. So they were loud but carried a twig rather than spoke softly with a club. Donald Trump had nothing to do with the Victorian Nuland and all of that earlier effort to put Ukraine and NATO and to interfere in the government of Ukraine. He had nothing to do with that. He did, his children, none of them went over to Ukraine and tried to shake down the Ukrainian government to pour money into a presidential family. And then, as Joe Biden did, went over there and fired the prosecutor on threats. And he used our money to threaten the Ukrainians. He has no history of that. He sent offensive weapons to Ukraine that Biden had embargoed. He was pretty tough on the Russians in a way Biden never was. He said, don't do the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, Germany. Don't do it.
When heading out at night, you must carry this small evidence of things.
He killed a lot of the Wagner group. He got out of an asymmetrical missile deal. But he had no fingerprints on the Ukrainian war. He didn't say, as Joe Biden did when he came into office, our reaction as America will be contingent on whether it's a minor invasion. Think of that. That was a green light to Putin, as was his suspension of offensive military arms to Ukraine. So what am I getting at? The summit was about what we could expect. Putin wants to win over America, so then America will back off from Ukraine, and so it can get some more mileage westward and further deteriorate or erode or detrite the Ukrainian military. The Ukrainian military is pretty tough. It's hanging in there. It wants enough aid to leverage Putin. Between those two poles, there will be a DMZ. And if there is a peace settlement, it will be the work, whether the left likes it or not, of Donald Trump, the one world leader among the three that has nothing to do with this war. Didn't start on his watch. It wasn't a result of his policies, and it surely was not his responsibility that Vladimir Putin found himself inside Ukraine and threatening to destroy the independence of the Ukrainian people. That was not Donald Trump's doing, but it may well be his doing to stop. Thank you very much. This is Victor Davis Hansen for the Dailies.
Okay. Does this make sense, Barbie, now? Like, he has a way of clearing everything up. Very simple, very perfect, going through the history.
I mean, it always made sense to me what Trump was doing with Russia. I was never under the illusion that Trump had, like, some special liking for Vladimir Putin. I just think Trump is a deal maker, and he wants peace and stability, and he's willing to go the extra mile to do it, when other people are just willing to, I don't know, posture? Bloviate? I can't think of, like, the right word. I think Trump is always willing to make a deal with whoever, and I think that's what separates him, because while he will make a deal with whoever, if they don't come to the table and make a deal, he's going to do what needs to be done. He's going to do the right thing. You know? And he's shown that over, I don't know, pretty much every time push has come to shove, he's followed through on that, in my opinion. Again, it's just my opinion. I'm not surprised. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a peace deal, I'll be honest. I just don't know if we're putting this genie back in the bottle. I just feel like the way Putin has been acting, I don't know if we're putting this genie back in the bottle. I really don't. I hope there is. I think this is a colossal money pit and just a source of tension, but I don't know. What do you think, Sal? Do you think there's going to be a deal?
Not for a while. Not for a while.
Stealth?
Yeah.
So I want to say something about what Zigos and Dan was talking about before.
Okay.
So I've been to Morocco a few times, Dan and Zigos, and from what I've discovered there is almost 90% of Morocco drinks alcohol, and those are Muslims. So the way they do it is a foreign businessman opens a bar there. It's not meant for Muslims, but they go there anyways and they drink. And they open clubs too. The second thing is the king of Morocco, he doesn't give power to clerics. So I don't understand that. If you can explain that to me. Because it seems like a very stable country, generally speaking.
Yeah, reliable, no. In Morocco, the Muslim Brotherhood, they function under different labels. They're actually powerful, whether it's like, believe it or not. So he does, and even though he is openly, it does not express enmity toward Israel, toward the Jews, but still, any Moroccans, if you talk to Muslims Moroccan, they reflect the same sentiment that is
I listen to them on Twitter. They're on Twitter, and they are very.
Yeah, they're everywhere. So it's the same sentiment. And regarding alcohol, I had a friend, a Jordanian friend. He's an owner of a huge factory. He exports alcohol all over the world, and his business is sustained in Jordan because, of course, you have 99% of the population are Muslims. So you can imagine, it's like, who drinks all of the alcohol? And my friend is just like, he's a multi-millionaire, billionaire, or something like that. So who is sustaining his business? Like, and no, forget my friend. It's like, I know my people. So it's like 70% of the people I know probably drink. So alcohol, what happened is that Muhammad entered the mosque and he found Ali bin Abi Talib. Ali bin Abi Talib is considered to be like the prophet for the Shia. It was his cousin and his companion. He was reading the Quran and he was mumbling. He was, confused. He was not reading the Quran accurately. So Muhammad got mad and he said, okay, don't pray while you're drunk. And that's the verse in the Quran. لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى. And alcohol was never prohibited in Islam. Never. However, it's like different reasons led to strict prohibition by different fatwas. But Muhammad himself, that used to drink wine imported from the Levant, from Damascus. And this is like
that's why it was shocking during FIFA that Qatar last minute banned all alcohol use, even though they had all these advertisers and all these people coming there, and then they banned it at the last minute, which pissed off all the soccer fans.
Listen, alcohol was.
But originally,
really,
just listen to this. They were going to do it.
You're gonna love it because it's all about communism. So what happened is that alcohol was not really strictly prohibited in the Islamic world until we have the Muslim Brotherhood and King Faisal of Saudi Arabia supporting them because he was threatened by Gamal Abdel Nasser. Gamal Abdel Nasser was a communist after he failed to get the West to give him weapons, so he went to the communist side and he became a communist. To the Russians. Yeah, he went to the Russian, and they gave him weapons.
Yeah.
But after he imprisoned the Muslim Brotherhood and the radical Muslims, and he was so popular that he threatened all the monarchies and the presidents in the Arab world because he was kind of
Suez Canal and everything, right?
Yeah, he was appealing to the Islamic imagination of one state that is caliphate, even though he was not a Muslim. But anyway, he was popular. King Faisal was threatened by him, but he could not fight him. He needed an excuse, he needed a reason in order to fight Gamal Abdel Nasser, and of course it was communism. So he empowered the Islamic movements in the Arab world to weaken Gamal Abdel Nasser. And what happened after the 1967 defeat, when Israel defeated the Arab armies, at the Al-Khartoum summit, Gamal Abdel Nasser, he was defeated, he was in debt. So King Faisal gave him money in front of all the Arab leaders, and by doing that, he asserted his dominance. And Gamal Abdel Nasser used the money to pay the Egyptian debt. However, there was a condition to release all the Islamists or the Islamic radicals from his prisons, and that's how they were empowered. Now to the alcohol point, because the communist, the nationalist in the Arab world, they were heavy drinkers, okay? Anyone who is communist or pan-Arabist in the Arab world is really heavy drinker. They were known to be alcoholic. They had alcohol everywhere, wherever they meet. So the Islamic movements looked at alcohol the same way they looked at pork. Only Christians eat pork. So if you eat pork, you're not from us. The same thing is like if you drink alcohol, you are from the communist, from the nationalists who are anti-Islam. So that's how, and Zico said something about
so
when he traveled.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, just when he traveled to Egypt. Lebanon is pretty known for its nightlife and openness, right? But back in the 60s, there's a Lebanese singer, her name is Sabah. She's very famous. Whenever she travels to Egypt, her mom would tell her, be careful, because in Egypt it's very, they're open-minded. And could you imagine this? A Lebanese woman was afraid and, warned her daughter of going to Egypt. Yeah, Zigos, I'm not kidding. Sabuha said this herself. So what happened?
I know. Listen, her name is Ali, actually. That Sabuha is like a...
Yeah, I know. I attended her funeral.
Yeah, it's her singer name. And she married a bunch of Egyptians. And she married Rushdie Abaza, if you remember.
She did, yeah. So what happened in Egypt is exactly this. Gamal Abdel Nasser, his nationalist movement was defeated, and that's why I always blame Israel. I always say Israel is responsible for the Islamic awakening, because if they didn't defeat Gamal Abdel Nasser, we didn't have to end up with the Islamic awakening taking over the Arab world. But anyway,
yeah, but then
so
we would have had communism and Muslim Brotherhood. Would have been even worse.
Abu Nawas and all these guys, remember, they were all drinkers during the caliphates.
Okay, I want to switch the conversation if you're done on this for 1 second.
I just want to tell Barbie to check her DM because Barbie, I sent you something.
Okay, I will check it. Sorry, my DMs are so.
I don't even want to look at my DMs.
I will check them.
I'll go to the hands after this quick thing, and then you'll see what happens. Hold on.
Recently, because it's going to have an unusual redistricting.
California, Barbie.
We're going to redraw the maps of our 52 congressional seats.
I know, they're trying to offset Texas.
According to our governor, because Texas has been doing that, and Gavin Newsom is running for president in 2028.
Told you.
Show that he is on the
100%
opposition to Texas. But there's a problem. Texas doesn't have an independent commission, and Texas has a underrepresentation of Republicans in congressional seats. But what Gavin Newsom is doing is very strange. He is undermining a independent commission. It's been dominated by the left, but he doesn't even trust it. Hello, this is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal. California has been in the news recently because it's going to have an unusual redistricting effort. That means we're going to redraw the maps of our 52 congressional seats. And we're going to do that.
Hold on.
According to our governor, because Texas has been doing that, and Gavin Newsom is running for president in 2028, so he wants to show that he is on the cutting edge of Democratic opposition to Texas. But there's a problem. Texas doesn't have an independent commission, not that they're really independent, but that in theory they are. They just gerrymander. And Texas has a underrepresentation of Republicans in congressional seats. What I mean by that, if you look at the aggregate vote in Texas for the president or for senators or for the state legislature, and you get an aggregate Republican versus Democrat vote, and then you see how many seats they have, and does that percentage represent it? The majority, no, it doesn't in Texas. In fact, most red states, if the 50 states are ranked 1 to 50, do the number of congressional seats in this state represent the Republican or Democratic aggregate overall vote as adjudicated by either state legislature races or statewide races or the presidency or the senators? You can use different forms, but they're pretty much the same. That red states do not that they don't gerrymander, but they don't gerrymander as effectively. So that's why Texas is taking this action to get parity. But what Gavin Newsom is doing is very strange. He is undermining a independent commission. It's been dominated by the left, but he doesn't even trust it. He's not calling it back into session necessarily. He's calling a special session with a predetermined map created by Democrats to redistrict. And here's the problem. California, like most blue states such as Massachusetts or Illinois or New York, they are already heavily weighted toward Democrats. Here in California, depending on what formula we use, about 38 to 40% of the state typically vote for a Republican ticket, state or federal. And yet, if you look at natural paradise, and he turned it into purgatory. Thank you very much. This is Victor Davis Hanson for the Daily Signal.
He needs to be hired as a political strategist for everybody in California for the RNC, Barbie.
Yeah, hey, so did you see Alexandra Macedo's?
I agree.
Did you see Alexandra Macedo's response, or her piece? She's the minority Republican leader in the state legislature.
No, you can send it to me, but I do have some hands on. Like, can you send it to me? No.
Oh, okay, I put it up in the nest. It's an easy play.
Barbie, he needs to be the political strategist for the RNC in California, and Trump needs to make an example out of California. Why doesn't JD Vance take this on his head as his special project, Barbie?
Because he doesn't. I don't really understand what the VPs do, but I don't know. JD Vance, I feel like, is not going to do anything that's. I get the feeling he's trying to cruise by and not piss anybody off so that he can run.
The only way, like, he could actually win is if against Gavin Newsom, is if he, showed all the corruption and they fixed California in a major way. And get him investigated for every possible corruption that he's done.
To be honest, there's so much to take Gavin Newsom down with that if that's not like a major project on the plates of people in the GOP, I don't know what's wrong with them, because he's not going to be easy to beat, not because he's a good candidate and not because he has good policies, because he's a sociopath. And sociopaths, unlike Kamala Harris, who's a narcissist, sociopaths are very good at adapting and fooling you into thinking that they're normal. He's going to be worse than Obama. He's going to be more radical than Obama.
You've seen the Chinese agitprop announcing his run. You saw, I sent you things, right?
Sure, and on top of it, like, he might be the only person who loves himself even more than Obama did, okay? Like, this is the perfect storm right here. Not to mention he's young and charismatic, and he looks good on pictures, just like he did with the J.D. Vance thing. That stupid crap sells to stupid people who look at that and say, oh, wow. I mean, not the smart people who can tell that he has zero substance, but he sells. He knows how to sell. Even people who don't like him, when they're, like, in front of him, when they hear him talk,
I don't know a single candidate that can run against him and win at this point that we have lined up.
I don't either. And that's not because, well, Trump, but he can't run again. And that's not because Gavin Newsom is amazing. It's because, again, he's a sociopath, and people shouldn't take that, and people should take that very seriously, because
I hope Kimberly Guilfoyle is allowed to speak on it, and there's not an NDA, right? Because of their marriage, right? And everything that we
very weird. It's just crazy that she
was with Don Jr. and now she's in to Grace.
No, that she was married to Gavin Newsom. It explains a lot to me about. I'm not saying this in a mean way. I'm saying this in a very it explains to me a lot about how she certain things, aspects of her personality.
Because of what she went through. Yeah.
Because of what she went through, I can't even imagine that. Freaking sociopath, from hell. Now he has a Stepford wife, so she's good. She's probably all medicated.
No. She's I'll tell you about her privately. I'm not gonna talk about her publicly, but I'll tell you about all that. Yeah, you know her family are Republicans, right? They voted for Trump, right?
I did not know that, but yeah, not surprised. Isn't she
Cuban? Isn't she Cuban?
No, she's not. No, she's not.
To me, she looks like Nicole Kidman from Stepford Wives.
Yeah.
That whole that dynamic going on with that face that shows no emotion whatsoever and dead eyes.
But there's I'll tell you enough stuff about her, but it just needs to go straight to Laura, and they have to have a whole campaign. A lot of people. RFK knows a lot about him as well, FYI. So just remember that. Okay, Cyber.
Butterface disease.
Who's Butterface?
Kimberly.
Oh. Not before. Before she's gorgeous. Okay, go ahead, Cyber.
I was going to ask, because California has this, independent commission, and they have pretty clear, whatever you want to call it, mandates and guidelines for how they're supposed to, do their districting.
They violate everything. He's a violator.
Right.
Yeah.
But my point is that because they're short-circuiting cutting off the 10-year window early, and they're also saying it's in response to another state's behavior, does that open them up to being sued, some kind of conspiracy against rights or something, some other thing, imagine if they were doing anything.
Ask McAdoo, tweet underneath her and ask who else could we ask on this? Stephen Miller, you could ask him.
Because he's saying specifically his purpose is to counteract the Republican representation in another state.
Yeah.
He's not saying it's to benefit his own state.
right?
There are states' rights, Saiga. States have rights.
Yes,
They
you
can
have
do what
states'
they
rights,
wish. Federalism exists in the United States of America. States are able to do what they wish to do. Now, the government is in charge of a federal election, but states can appropriate things the way the state legislature and the governor feel is in the best interest of the state. And just because he's reacting to Texas doesn't mean that he doesn't think it's in the state's best interest.
No, but I agree. I'm not saying this is a mission for the federal government. I'm saying within California Republicans have a cause of action.
California elected a woman who went to Cuba for 17 straight years. California elected Adam Schiff a few weeks ago.
I know, and so like Adam Schiff is very annoying. We're on the same page. I don't like him either.
Why would you think that California or Californians are going to turn the other cheek now and start to come around? It's not bad enough. I
don't need a majority. I just need enough.
He's just talking about a lawsuit, and that can happen. Yeah, there's a ground game. Elizabeth Barkohana talking to me privately about it. There is a massive lawsuit and ground game. The question is whether or not you'll have like Nicole Shanahan and Elon Musk put money behind it. That's what you need, right? And the Silicon Valley guys. If you don't have that, you need their money, and you need like 2 Silicon Valley guys and maybe Elon Musk, or you need like Sean McGuire and Elon Musk and somebody else. But you need a legal team. So I think Hardmeat's looking into this now, but there is going to be a lawsuit, Fred, about this and what they're doing. So
I thought that there were restrictions placed on states' ability to draw maps because of racism and issues like that. So the federal government did have oversight in the southern states. I know California wasn't a slave state because it didn't exist during the Civil War. But that doesn't mean that the federal government doesn't have a history and a precedent to intercede and oversee the drawing of congressional districts.
Yeah, so we need to ask Shipwrecked, James R. We need to ask
Croaky.
Croaky is another one. Who else would know? I'm trying to think. Who's a constitutional lawyer that we can ask? Just right,
Jonathan Turley would be good.
Yeah. So has anybody responded to this? Go search social media.
So the statute they use in the southern states is the Civil Rights Act of 1965, Section 2. And it's been abused, it's been misinterpreted, or there's some gray area, and it's been abused, and that's what they're overturning now in the state of Texas, these coalition minority districts. And this was settled in the 5th District Court with Galveston versus Petaway is the key legal case. So anybody that's interested, look up Galveston versus Petaway, because it's going to have far-reaching implications in how various districts are gerrymandered to favor, to set up a majority-minority district so that they can vote in a minority. And especially when you have contrast, like you have Maria Salazar, you have Byron Donalds and all that are perfect examples of you don't need to gerrymander a district to create a minority set-aside, essentially. So it's called Galveston versus Petaway.
But California's 9th Circuit, so it's not the same circuit. So like a California resident could bring a lawsuit, and it wouldn't be in conflict. There would be a conflict between the circuits, which would then get appealed to the Supreme Court. But that's like a later step.
So you have to see what's been tweeted out by let me see here. Here it is. This is the redistricting. Hold on a second.
Okay, so Democrats proposed a new California congressional map. And while this is going on, because Newsom said, he's going to finish him. That's Newsom's claim. He's going to finish him. So Newsom leads California redistrict plans revealed in a leaked map. Rob, I don't know if you have that or not. If you want to pull that up, I'll read the story. So, and then Schwarzenegger had to say something. So here we go. Democrats, led by Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, submitted a proposed California congressional map to counter Republican-led redistricting in Texas. Earlier today, the DCCC submitted a proposed congressional map to the legislative public portal with collaborative input from stakeholders and legislators. We anticipate this proposal will have widespread support both among California office holders and various stakeholders across the state. The map targets 5 Republican incumbents, which is Kevin Kiley, Doug LaMalfa, Darrell Issa, which we showed this last week, Ken Calvert, and David Vallado to create 5 blue-leaning districts aiming to neutralize Texas' plan to gain the 5 GOP seats. Gavin Newsom pushing for November special election said, they do 5 seats, we can do 5 seats. Framing it as a response to President Trump's Texas strategy. Rob, go ahead. Is this a clip or an image that you're
Sorry, this is the map that they was leaked over the course of the week of the redistrict.
Got it. And can you show what it looked like before?
Yeah.
Is there a way to put them right next to each other to just kind of see what areas they're focused in? Tom, while this is happening, Tom, is that the one? Are you able to put those two together? Is that it? So if you watch oh, this is massive.
Yeah, you have to look by Reno.
Wow,
you see Reno where the Nevada bends up there? Take a look at what just happened.
So that's a real redistricting taking place.
Yep.
Yeah, they literally are taking a pencil and going through it.
There it is. There's what I'm talking about. That salamander, Pat, you were showing us, that gerrymander.
By Vegas.
See, they're making it bigger and closer to Sacramento and taking out all of the red farmers along the Sierras.
Yeah, so that's going to replace 5 for 5, because California knows they have the power to do so. While they're doing this, a former somewhat rhino Republican governor named Arnold comes out and is mobilizing to oppose New's push to temporarily scrap the state's nonpartisan redistricting commission, stating in a social media post, I'm getting ready for the gerrymandering battle. The t-shirt saying terminate gerrymandering. Schwarzenegger, who championed the commission's creation through constitutional amendment in 2008 and 2010, opposes both Newsom's plan and similar Republican-led efforts in Texas, with his spokesperson, Daniel Ketchel, telling Politico he calls gerrymandering evil, and he means that. He thinks it's truly evil for politicians to take power from people. He's opposed to what Texas is doing, and he's opposed to the idea that California would race to the bottom to do the same thing. The commission, popular among California for public opinion polling, was designed to remove political manipulation from redistricting, but this is going to be taking place. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Once upon a time in 2008 and 2010, the Terminator was there, and you know what he was trying to do? I did some research on this. This was very similar to the Florida plan, that congressional districts have to be around cities and be districts that are drawn in a rational way around cities and population groups. That's what he was trying to do. And this was a nonpartisan redistricting commission that Newsom wants to scrap. I wonder why. So think about those 2 points, Vinny. You have a guy that said, hey, Florida's doing it right. That's not exactly what Arnold said, but Arnold said this plan was right. Happens to be what Florida does. Let's have a nonpartisan commission. So if anybody wants to do this, you know, we keep it sane so that the representation is around the people. And that's what Arnold did in 2008, 2010. So he's got the moral authority to speak up and say, I tried to create a commission on this. Don't do it. This is crazy.
And he's losing the battle. So
who he's losing?
Gavin, Politico Citron Center survey found that 64% of California voters want the dependent redistricting commission to remain in charge, while 36% want to return authority to legislative control by Newsom and the Democrats. And listen, and I know you want to go to Adam. We got to give credit. We're all about competition in first place, and we got to give it up to Gavin Newsom. California, as of this weekend, leads the nation in unemployment and homelessness. So you got to just give it